Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have been accused of whinging over gripes that surfaced in their new biography. Finding Freedom charts the couple's decision to ditch their roles as senior royals and reveals their frustrations along the way. Buckingham Palace is remaining silent as new details emerge about their complaints. The Sussexes were said to have been angered by Prince Harry losing his military titles, The Sun reports. The couple are also believed to have been infuriated at reported snubbing from Prince William and Kate Middleton. Harry and Meghan's pals briefed Finding Freedom authors Omid Scobie and Carol Inderhan while they were working on the bombshell book. The Duchess is quoted as saying, "I gave up my entire life for this family. I was willing to do whatever it takes." Finding Freedom exposes the tension between the couple and the Cambridges. It also charts trouble between Meghan and Kate, including a recollection of an awkward exchange at a polo match in July. The women were there to watch William and Harry compete in the event. But the book says that they had struggled to move past distant politeness since they first met. Their cordial but distant rapport was apparent when they appeared at the King Power Royal Charity Polo Day, it reads. While the doting mothers were photographed next to each other with their children, the two appeared to barely exchange a word. The Sussexes were also reportedly angry at being unable to establish their own dedicated team in Windsor. Senior officials, according to the book, swiftly ruled out that option. And the couple's final joint royal engagement for the Commonwealth Day service in Westminster Abbey on March 9 saw more offence being taken. This was due to Meghan and Harry not being included in the procession of senior royals. Sources at the time briefed that this was due to their decision to step down from their roles. But the book says that the decision not to include them in the procession was made without consulting the Sussexes. Harry is said to have been left disappointed by the move, which both felt was intentional. And when they reached their seats, they greeted the Cambridges with smiles but were met with little response. William and Kate were seen sitting with their backs to the Sussexes despite turning around to speak with Prince Edward, who was sat next to Harry and Meghan. The book also claims that Harry emailed his grandmother and his father before Christmas to explain that he and Meghan wanted to change the way they worked. There was final upset, it is reported, when the couple did not feature in a festive photo lineup. The authors point out that during the Queen's Christmas Day speech there were no pictures of Harry and Meghan. There were, however, pictures showing the Cambridges and their children next to Her Majesty. Charles and Camilla as well as Prince Philip and George VI were also featured. Also absent from the collection of pictures was any trace of the Sussexes' new son, Archie. Insiders have claimed that the photos showed a line of succession and denied that the order was intended as a snub. However, the book says that the incident was yet another sign for Harry and Meghan that they needed to take their own path. Royal author Phil Dampier branded the Sussexes whingers and said that they can expect little sympathy. Next news, Prince Charles crushed by Harry and Meghan Markle after couple went public. Prince Harry paved the way for Megxit in 2016 when he overshadowed Charles' vital Middle East tour by confirming his relationship with Meghan in an attack on the media, a new book claims. The Prince of Wales team was crushed after spending months preparing a diplomatic summit with the King of Bahrain in the hopes it would get significant coverage. But the timing of his youngest son's statement, in which Harry accused the media of racial undertones at the same time as confirming his new relationship, meant it dominated the news cycle. Royal authors Omid Scobie and Carol Inderhan also claim Harry, 35, gave his dad just 20 minutes notice before releasing the statement in November 2016. At the time, Charles was rounding off a delicate tour in the Persian Gulf sovereign state which he hoped would be covered significantly. Finding Freedom, Harry and Meghan and the making of a modern royal family, it was a critical moment that had been in the works for months. A statement from Kensington Palace condemning the press and, in the same breath, confirming Harry's new girlfriend would all but eliminate coverage of Prince Charles's tour of the Gulf. Royal authors Omid Scobie and Carol Inderhan claim, the team at Clarence House, which had spent months putting together Prince Charles' tour in the hopes that it would be covered significantly, was crushed. The book goes on to say Harry was lashing out at anyone who questioned his new relationship. He would wonder, is this about race? Is it snobbery? The authors wrote. Harry had allegedly cut ties with a friend for gossiping about Meghan and was poised for an outright war with the media. However, the book insists Charles understood that the situation with Meghan had reached a tipping point despite being disappointed by the timing of his son's statement. Other extracts from the book, to be released August 11, claim Harry felt brother William behaved like a snob as his new romance blossomed. The author says the protective older brother told the Duke of Sussex not to rush the relationship in a heart-to-heart 9 months after he began dating US actress Meghan. He is said to have told his brother, "Don't feel you need to rush this. Take as much time as you need to get to know this girl." Harry was reportedly left fuming by William's choice of words, and the pair hardly spoke for months afterwards. The source told the book, Harry could see through William's words. He was being a snob. Another added, Harry was pissed off. Pissed off that his brother would ask such a thing. Some felt it was an overreaction. But then this totally sums them up as people: William, the calm and rational one, and Harry, who can't help but take things far too personally. Next news, the 130-pound scent diffusers used to mask the musty smell of St. George's Chapel during Prince Harry's wedding to Meghan Markle were approved by Buckingham Palace ahead of their wedding day. After the nuptials in May 2018, royal sources have claimed that the odor of the 15th century chapel did not find favour with the soon-to-be Duchess of Sussex, and said she had insisted on masking it with air fresheners before her wedding guests arrived. However, according to royal biographers Omid Scobie and Carolyn Durand in their new book Finding Freedom, which has been serialized in the Times and Sunday Times, the Diptyque Bay diffusers were provided by the brand and were approved by the palace ahead of the royal wedding. The signature scent used to make the chapel more fragrant smells of roses, infused with fruity undertones of berries and currant leaves. It was previously understood that the request to use the atomizers to create a pleasant aroma for guests specifically came from Meghan's office at Kensington Palace. It was thought that although she and Harry organised the wedding themselves with an in-house team, anything to do with the chapel was a matter for the Queen, who had to give them permission to use it. That meant all of the arrangements needed to be passed by the Lord Chamberlain's office at Buckingham Palace, which is in charge of ceremonial matters. The source said at the time, apparently Meghan didn't like the smell of the chapel, which, as you would expect, is a little musty. It's not unpleasant at all, though. It just smells how you would expect an old building to smell. And that's something the royal family are particularly used to. Meghan wanted staff to go around with these atomizers, like spritzer guns, and spray the chapel with scent before anyone arrived. Royal household staff stepped in and told her office politely, but firmly, that this was a Queen's chapel and it simply wasn't appropriate. I don't believe they said no because they thought it could affect the chapel in any way. It was simply the principle of the thing. This is a place that has held royal weddings, funerals and even contains a royal vault. I don't believe a request of that nature had been made before. The source stressed at the time that there had been no falling out between the two households, but that there was a certain amount of surprise at the request. Frankly, it was all a bit ridiculous and rather over the top, they added. A second source, while also confirming that atomizers had been requested, said, the two households worked very well together. I don't believe they, the atomizers, caused concern. The discreet diffusers were much like the candles used by Kate Middleton for her wedding to Prince William at Westminster Abbey in 2011. The new Duchess of Cambridge had requested her favourite scented candles and toiletries from luxury fragrance brand Jo Malone be delivered to Cynthia Abbey on the couple's big day. A selection of candles, hand washes and lotions were requested, specifically in citrus spring scents including orange blossom, grapefruit and the ever-popular lime, basil, and mandarin. These were for use inside the Abbey and for wedding guests using the royal bathroom and additional 6 VIP bathrooms. Controversial new book Finding Freedom provides an intimately detailed and personalized version of the events leading up to the Sussexes' dramatic departure from royal life. Co-authors Scobie and Durand have insisted all information in this book has at least two sources. Harry and Meghan have denied giving interviews. The biography claims allege that Meghan and Harry were proving unpopular with royal staff, and could be difficult and dictatorial. Next news, Meghan Markle was aware of the racist and sexist media coverage she had fallen prey to. Meghan Markle has been targeting by UK tabloids in the most gruesome of manners with headlines reeking of sexist and racist attacks directed at her. And despite the common assumption that the Duchess was oblivious to the hate, reality seems to be quite different. According to new details emerged by excerpts of Finding Freedom, the Duchess of Sussex was well aware of the fact that she was getting singled out for every wrong reason. It was open season on Meghan, with many looking for anything and everything to criticize. Duchess different, a close friend of Meghan said. That's what people have a problem with. She's the easiest person in the world to work with. Certain people just don't like the fact she stands out, writers Omid Scobie and Carolyn Durand wrote. The source spilled to the authors that, this is a script that wrote itself as soon as you knew that an American actress was coming into the royal family. Meghan felt as though some of the commentary in tabloid stories were more than a culture clash, they were sexist and prejudiced. If a man got up before dawn to work, He was applauded for his work ethic. If a woman did it, she was deemed difficult or a expletive. The double standard was exacerbated when it came to successful women of color, often labeled demanding or aggressive, the source added. The writers further explained how the British media's response to Meghan joining the royal family had also been quite racist. Scobie and Duran wrote, "Racism takes a different form in the UK from in America, but there is no mistaking its existence and how ingrained it is. A major theme of racism in the UK centers on the question of who is authentically British,